Good morning. Good morning. I think I'm on here 1 minute early, but I didn't want to be late. So, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for coming on to the live today. And I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds to warm up, and we will get started in exactly at 6:30. So, I want to say good morning to everybody. It is Wednesday, October the 23rd, and 6:30 a.m. And we are kicking off the Self-Care at Work live uh, challenge. So Self-Care at Work challenge. We're kicking it off live today, this morning at 6:30. 6:30 in the morning. That's what we're doing. That's what this is. This is the kickoff. This is the kickoff. When you think about self-care, a lot of times people think about, getting up in the morning, journaling and doing your meditation and exercising and hydration. And all of those things are true. And all of those things are self-care. And all of those things are important. But when we get to work, sometimes we forget about those things. We forget about those things that kind of got us to work. The meditation and some people do cold plunges or whatever people do in the morning. And sometimes we forget about that. And at work, we just focus on work. And it's time that we also focus on our self-care while we're at work, which is the reason why the whole self-care at work challenge even started. So that's how we got here. The self-care at work challenge started because I used to not focus on self-care at work, and I knew things had to change. Self-care is an investment on you. That's exactly what it is. It's an investment on yourself. We have a lot of resources, not resources. We have a lot of things that are important to us in our lives. Our home, our cars, all those things. And a lot of times we forget to put ourselves there, that we need to put ourselves there. We are an investment. And when you invest in yourself, the rewards always pay off. They always, always pay off. So I want to thank you for getting on this challenge and taking the investment in yourself. So every Wednesday at 6:30, I'm gonna go live to talk about one more thing that we're gonna add to our self-care journey. Each week you're gonna get a text from me. Now, one of the things that I like about text is that you get it immediately. The other thing I don't like about text is I don't want to get texts all day long, all week long, every day. So I'm not going to do that to you. I will text one time a week. So I will send a text out today about what we're going to work on for this week. Because each week we're going to add something new, but one time a week. So you will not be bombarded with texts from me and instantly regret sending me your text number. So you won't get that from me. I will text one time a week. It will be on Wednesdays to talk about the kickoff and how we're going to get started. So on that, I want to say it takes 67 days for a habit to take place. 67 days. If you followed the self-care at work challenge that we had one before. So this is not our first self-care at work challenge. We had one before and it lasted 1 week and it was successful. It was good. A lot of people got good things from it. The thing about doing something for just 1 week is like that second week, you may start be like, okay, last week was so good. I'm going to try again this week, but soon you fall off because it's not really a habit. It's not something that you have got ingrained to doing. So for this challenge, we're going to do it from now until the end of the year. That's the goal. Now to the end of the year, every day we're at work, we're going to do our self-care. We're going to do self-care at work for this challenge every day. And you may be thinking, well, why are we doing it at the end of the year? Why don't we just start, the new year's right around the corner. Why don't we just start in January, fresh new year, new me? And that's a good idea because usually I can come up with a good idea and be like, I'm going to wait until January and then start that new idea. Well, by the time January gets here, that new idea has come and gone. And I'm just like, no, I'm not interested, even though it was a good idea at the time. The other thing too is that usually around the holidays, we kind of slow down. We kind of go downhill. And then January comes and we got to rev up to start the new year. With this challenge, we're going to end on a high because we're going to do the challenge. We're going to end on a high. We're going to do the now to the end of the year on a high. So when we go into 2025, we're already higher. We're already uplifted. We're already have momentum. It's already a practice. So it's not something that we have to, one more thing that we have to learn or embrace for our New Year's resolution or our New Year goals. It's already going to be a practice. It's already going to be something that we're doing, and it's just going to feel like the norm. So that's why we're starting the challenge now to get us ready to go for next year, to already be higher. A lot of times people be like, people have different advantages. And I do agree with that. But the self-care work challenge is going to give you an advantage for 2025 because you're already going to be practicing taking care of yourself at work. Hopefully you're already doing it at home, but you'll be doing it at work too. So work won't seem as stressful because work is stressful. So hopefully work won't seem as stressful. So that is one of the things of the challenge. The other thing that I want to talk about is that why I'm doing this challenge or why I'm talking so much about self-care, because I am not a self-care at work. I don't have a self-care at work certificate. I'm not a self-care at work specialist. I'm a human resource professional. I've been doing human resources for many years. And in human resources, we do talk about self-care, but there's no certification on that I know of, but there's no certification about self-care at work. And the reason why it's so important to me is because I was burnt out. I was burnt all the way out. And it wasn't because I didn't love the work that I was doing. It wasn't because I didn't enjoy the people that I was working with, because I love the work that I do. I love the people that I'm working with. Not all of them, but for the most part, I love the people that I'm working with. So it wasn't that I was sick of this or the clients that I'm working with. It wasn't any of that. And I was burnt out. I found myself not wanting to do any of the work, not wanting to talk to anybody, just being, just wanting to be myself, not happy about work. And I was just like, that's not normal. That's not like me. And I was like, well, I'm doing my morning routine, my self-care for myself. I'm journaling, I'm exercising, I'm meditating. Why am I not, when I get into the work, why am I still grumpy? Why am I not happy? Why is it not pleasant? And I had to take a look back and think, well, when I get to work, I'm so focused and, the stress just piles on. And I wasn't doing anything at work to help that, which is why I came up with, we need to be doing some of this self-care at work. It needs to be done at work. Yes, it needs to be done at home, right? It needs to be done at home in the morning, in the afternoon, or whenever you do your self-care routine. But it also needs to be done at work, because if you're working a full-time job, you're at work 8, 10, 12 hours. You're not doing any self-care for yourself during that time. And if you're not, even loving the work, even loving the people you work with, you can get burnt out, which was my case. And I thought, I'm going to go a different route. And the different route is self-care at work, because we're worth it. And I noticed that when I had started practicing self-care at work became more enjoyable again. I started to enjoy it. I started to be like, okay, it's back. I'm still always productive, but to enjoy it now and not be so stressful. So that is one of the reasons why I started the self-care at work practice and journal. That's why I talk about it all the time. I know some people hate to hear me coming, because I'll be like, did you do your self-care? Because I know how important it is. I know how important that is. So this week, every week, we're going to focus on something as it relates to self-care at work. This week, we're going to focus on morning routines. So let me share my screen to talk about what we're going to talk about as it relates to the morning routine that we're going to get. So let's see. Well, maybe I won't be sharing it. So it is basically, I'm trying to show the whole thing, but it won't let me share it. That's okay. The morning routine, what we're going to do for this week. And our week is going to go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, right? It's not going to be your typical Monday because Mondays you're already stressed out. That's why I'm not doing the lives on Monday. That's why I didn't start on a Monday. I started on a Wednesday. It's in the middle of the week. We're almost to the weekend. You know, people look forward to the weekend. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. That's the week that we're going to do. For this week, we are going to start with a morning routine at work. Not your morning routine that you do at home, because you still need to do that. You still need to do your morning routine for yourself at home. This is your morning routine at work. And if you did the challenge with me last time, I talked about a morning routine at work. And that's what we're going to start off with this time. We're going to solely focus on our morning routine at work. We're going to do 3 things this week, starting today. 3 things. We're going to hydrate. We're going to write 3 things that we're grateful for our job. And we're going to say a quick prayer before work. Those are the 3 things that we're going to do every week starting today. 5 minutes before your shift starts, before you're supposed to make a phone call or start typing on your emails, you're going to get into your work position, wherever your work is. If you work from home, you're going to get to your office in front of your desk. 5 minutes before your start time, you are going to drink at least a sip of water. I'm saying at least a whole cup, not all this, but at least a cup of water, but at least a sip of water. 1. You're going to write 3 things that you are grateful for about your job. Now, you may be saying, I hate my job. I can't think of one thing that I'm grateful for. But I want you to dig deep, and let me tell you why. You can be grateful for that this job that you have, that even though you hate, that this job allows you to pay your bills. It allows you to get Starbucks whenever you want to. It allows you to buy groceries. It allows you to meet new people. So there's at least 3 things about your job that you should be grateful for, because it may be a job that somebody else wishes they had. So I want you to dig deep. Maybe it's I get to work with wonderful people, or I get to work by myself. I don't have to work with a whole bunch of people. I'm grateful for that. Think of 3 things that you are grateful for your job, and you're going to write those things down before you start work. And then you are going to say a quick prayer. And the prayer can be, I pray that I have a good day. I pray that this day is not stressful. You know, some people can say, I pray nobody comes to me with their problems. Whatever you want the prayer to be. But those are 3 things that we're going to start today. 5 minutes before our shift starts, that we're supposed to report to work, we're going to take a sip of water, hydrate ourselves, because you want to be hydrated. We're going to write down 3 things that we are grateful for. And then we're going to say a quick prayer. And then we're going to start our day. That is the morning routine I'm talking about as it relates to self-care at work. Those are the things that we're going to do. That's what we're starting with today, because it's the intention. And we're going to talk about that more as the challenge goes on. It's the intention of how we are setting our day up. And to be really quick and brief, when you're an athlete, you know, people who train for the Olympics, they don't just be like, okay, I'm here. They have a practice. They have a routine. They have stretches. They have to monitor what they're eating. There's certain exercises that they do, you know, to get ready for that moment. And we think that, well, we're not an athlete. There's nothing that I just need to show up and here I am. And that's not true. To be your best self, for your best self-care, we need to prepare and we need to practice. And we need to do that by, right before we start work, what's our little routine that we start before we start work? Hydrate, 3 things we're grateful for. and say a little prayer. And I'm going to go back to the gratitude thing really quickly. One of the reasons why we want to focus on something we're grateful for is because you and me and everybody else can point out everything that's wrong with our jobs, society, just the world. And if you find one thing, you can find a million of something bad. And then we are hyper focused on all the bad, miserable things that are about the world. But when we start looking for the good, then we can start seeing good things. Because maybe the miserable job that we don't really like, maybe it's not so miserable after all. When you start pointing out, when you start focusing on some of the things that you're grateful for the job. So that is our intention, to set the tone, to set our bodies and mind and spirit in the right thing. So our morning routine will be hydrate, write 3 things down that you're grateful for, and say a quick prayer. Quick. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes. I'm saying 5 minutes before your work start. So that is what we're going to start with for our morning routine. Every week, we're going to add something new. So I want to show this.
Are you a high performer because of your habits? Or are you a high performer in spite of your habits? If you were to list the things that you do consistently, especially on the bookends of your day, your morning and evening routine, the things that you do on a very regular basis, which percentage of those are helping you become the best version of yourself, and which of those are hindering you? Which one of those are moving you in the right direction, and which one of those are dragging you down? Here's your first actionable takeaway. I want you to write down a list of the things that fill your bucket, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. The things that charge you up, the things that give you energy, the things that make you smile, the things that add to your confidence level. I want you to write those things down. Then on the other side of the paper, with honesty and vulnerability, I want you to write down how you've been spending the bookends of your day. How you've been spending your morning and evening routine. How have you been spending the first 60 minutes after you wake up and the last 60 minutes before you go to bed? And then to complete the audit, I want you to compare the 2 sides of the paper. Compare the 2 sets of notes. And I want you to ask yourself one of the most important questions you can ever ask yourself. Are you doing the things that you know you need to do to be your best self? Are you doing the things you feel you should be doing to become your best self? And I can almost promise you, even the highest performers in this room, if you do this with honesty and vulnerability, you're going to start to uncover what's called a performance gap. And a performance gap is the gap between what we know and what we do. And even the highest performers in the world have a series of performance gaps, but they have worked relentlessly to make those at a razor's thin edge. You need to start closing the gap between what you know you should be doing. Remember, you came up with this list. I didn't come up with it. You know that you need to do the things on the left side of the paper. Now it's up to you to make the time to prioritize yourself and emphasize self-care so that you start doing the things that are on the right side of the paper. And you don't have to change everything at once. Start to sprinkle some of the stuff from the left side over onto the right side, even if it's only 5 to 10 minutes at a time. But you owe it to yourselves, you owe it to your families, you owe it to the groups that you work with to show up to everything as the best version of yourself. And the only way you can do that is through your habits. The only way you can do that is by making the time to fill your own bucket. So those are our habits.
Okay. Let's see. Stop sharing. All right. So welcome to the Self-Care at Work Challenge. I look forward to you all being part of the journey. We're going to do it from now to the end of the year. I will be sharing on different platforms on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. If you saw the video and this morning, send me a message and say, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready. If you're just now seeing the video and hadn't signed up for the challenge, it's not too late. Text 678-995-3812. 678-995-3812 and say, count me in, and we will put you in the challenge. I look forward to us all being our best selves. I'll see you at work.